In this week's Friday Feeling, some thoughts about showmanship and technical skill. I was rewatching the America's Got Talent finals where magician Shin Lim did an amazing job uh, demonstrating sleight of hand skill and some interesting gaffed pieces and knowing a little bit about magic. Um, Getting an idea of how some of the pieces of the performance worked. And what struck me was that compared to other magicians, he has the right balance of showmanship and technical skill. And both are important in a magic act because a showman without technical skill is kind of a buffoon, loud and boisterous, but not really fooling anybody. And a magician who is technically skilled but has no showmanship is kind of interesting to watch, but at the same time a little boring. It's like, okay, that's cool that you can make cards dance and stuff like that. It's is that blend of being able to do both well that makes for a really compelling act. And what that got me thinking about was in the world of marketing, how we approach it very much the same way, right? There's that whole left brain, right brain. You're either creative or you're analytical. And we've been saying for a while, you need to be both. But I don't feel like we've done a good job of emphasizing that technical skill and creative skill in marketing are not additive, they're multiplicative in the same way that technical skill and showmanship are multiplicative in a magic performance. You need to be able to do both, and the product of doing both well is many times more than having either one separately. So when you look at something as simple as like website design, website design is important. Having a design that's not offensive to the eyes is a good thing. Having a website that is intuitive and people can find what they're looking for really easily is important. And to get to that, you also need the technical skill. I spent the last week wrestling with my company's website. It was on a host that was underperforming, and so the migration of the site was painful. Fixed a whole bunch of little technical things that in the end make a good experience much better because the user doesn't have to wait, things are where they're supposed to be, and so on and so forth. When you have technical skill and showmanship, when you have technical skill and creative skill, what you get is a great experience. An experience is as much emotional as it is factual. Having that experience means it's something that's memorable. It's something that you feel like you enjoyed and you would do again. And what's interesting is that Penn Jillette on his series Fool Us, when the same magician, Shin Lim, did his performance on that show, said something very interesting. He said, from a technical magical perspective, if one thing breaks down, the entire performance breaks down because it reveals the flaws in the performance. But in that particular person's performance, he felt even though there were some things that they caught, it was still perfect because the showmanship was enough to cover very minor technical errors. And the same thing is true in your marketing. If you create a great customer experience through that creativity, it may be enough to compensate for slight technical errors, not glaring ones, but slight ones. And the same thing is true in reverse. A website that is functional and fast and clean and delivers what the customer wants may be enough to compensate for the fact that it doesn't have world-class design. It may be good enough to give the customer what they want. But it's really important to have that balance, to staff that balance, to hire for that balance as best as you can, and to identify where your gaps in that balance are. Now, the good news is, at least for technologists, is you can find technological ways to identify where you're out of balance. For example, if your website if you're looking at things like path analysis through your website, what path do people take through your website? If there are not nice short paths between wherever a person comes in and your key pages like About Us, services, your team, your company, the pages that indicate buying interest, then you know that there's something from maybe a navigational and technical, but also a design perspective that may be off. Likewise, things like exit rate on certain pages or bounce rate on certain pages are things that would indicate that technically there are some design optimizations you could make. And the same thing is true in social media, with the amount of engagement you get, the amount of commenting you get, things like that hint at the quality of your content may not be as good as it could be. So use the technological tools to help you understand both the technology and the creative, and then use things like market research and focus groups and things to help you get a complete picture of your creative side when gauging people's reactions, when you show them a piece of collateral or a piece of content and their reaction is not, oh wow, their reaction is like, that's nice, then you know you have a creative deficit. So if you want to see a good example of this, there's another magician, Yu Ho-jin, who is a Korean magician, and his Faisum 2012 performance, which is a winning performance, but is a much more understated performance than Shin Lim's performance. And when Yu Ho-jin went on America's Got Talent, he didn't go very far because it was not what the audience was looking for. It had supreme technical skill, but it didn't have the kind of showmanship that they were after. So watch those two performances side by side and you'll go, oh, okay, there's clearly a difference between the two, and aim to be that technically proficient showman. As always, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and the newsletter, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Want help solving your company's data, analytics, and digital marketing problems? Visit trustinsights.ai today and let us know how we can help you.